Hi everyone, I'm Sai, and I'm going to be talking about PPE pollution, which is a relatively new phenomenon that has been introduced um, after the COVID-19 pandemic. Next slide. All right, so let's just talk a little bit about what it is. So since the beginning of the pandemic, so about February, March, that area, the demand for single-use PPE, so masks, gloves, face shields, has risen by over 1,000%. And the industry is projected to be valued at $9 billion by 2027. And the majority of this evaluation has been primarily from this year due to the rapid expansion of the PPE business and demands from various countries in the world, especially the United States. And if we just think about it in perspective, it takes about 0.48 megajoules to make one face mask, which in comparison is not really that much. But if you think about the amount of face masks and face shields that are being made in order to fight this pandemic, that really adds up. And especially with pollution and improper disposal, as mentioned previously in this seminar, this can be very dangerous to wildlife, especially since plastic can degrade into microplastics and lead into biomagnification among the food chain. Next slide. So here's like a nice video kind of illustrating what's going on right now. I think if we can play it. This is the audio. Oh, the audio seems to not be working. But it just kind of goes to show like how PPE is not being disposed properly. It's just being thrown on into the streets, and then it ends up on the ocean. And clearly you can see it's disrupting marine ecosystems and marine wildlife. Right, because these types of things could get caught up within like a marine ecosystem, and like if an animal comes by, it can accidentally ingest it. So this person just goes on to talk about this phenomena and what we can do to kind of stop it. So I think this one is near a mask dispensary in France. Highly recommend you watch this video. Maybe I'll put it in the chat after, as it's pretty insightful. But yeah, there are several non-governmental organizations and nonprofits working to kind of fix this problem, as well as increase public education for the use of single-use plastics and single-use PPE. All right, I think we can move on. Okay, so what is going to happen if this trend continues? So it is estimated that there's going to be a 10 times impact on global climate change from the sole production of masks and other types of PPE, as well as 60,000 tons of plastic waste, which cannot be properly recycled or managed by our global environmental structures. So as you saw in the video, this can cause major problems in our marine ecosystems, as well as cause problems within our marine eco-life. Next slide. So what can we do to kind of alleviate this phenomenon? The first thing we can do is eliminate or reduce the amount of single-use PPE that is entering the landfill. So everyday consumers like you and me, we don't really need to be using plastic face masks. We can be using cloth face masks and other types of things that can be reused multiple times, and these are not only more sustainable, but they're cheaper to make, as well as they're better for the environment. And then we need to do our part to educate our healthcare providers about proper disposal methods, as they do need single-use PPE, but we need to educate them better on what they can do in order to dispose it properly so it doesn't end up in our oceans, as well as consumers for how they themselves can make repurposed materials in their houses to make reusable face masks. And of course, we need to look into engineering efforts for plastic alternatives and potential use and creation in medical grade PPE supplies, so bioplastics, these types of things. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, so if you have any questions, you can just ask me or put them in the chat. Yeah.
Oh, I have a question about like cloth mask versus plastic masks. So you
Mhm.
said like everyday people don't need plastic masks, but I know like a lot of hospitals are now accepting cloth masks.
Mhm.
So would that pose a greater risk since it doesn't like filter it out as easily as plastic masks, or is it just like their last resort, or is that actually beneficial to them?
So reusable face masks, especially if they have 2 or 3 layers, they have been effective in preventing COVID-19 particle transmission. But especially in a hospital grade setting, the N95 is shown to be the most effective, especially since it has a filter embedded within it. So it wouldn't really be recommended to use homemade face masks in a
Yeah.
hospital.
So I
But
guess it's
like
just for
for
that.
general
Yeah.
use, definitely it should be considered. Yeah.